Hey Tiffany,
Hello.
how you doing tonight?
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, about the same. I get that. I get that. We're not gonna talk about the news tonight, and probably by the time this comes out, it'll be old news anyway. So,
Yeah, it's rough.
um, yeah. So let's,
Yeah, well, the one thing we'll say is it's rough for everybody.
yeah.
So you're not
So
alone.
I hope everyone's taking care of themselves and their families and
Yeah.
their mental health.
Hmm.
But instead, we're gonna drift into the wildly nebulous world of organic food. So,
I love
um,
nebulousness.
nebulousness. So, do you buy organic? Is that like something you?
Yeah, I'm not strict about it, but
Wait, okay, just out of curiosity, why?
oh, okay. Yes, these are all good questions. This one question is good. Um, I don't really have a great answer, other than actually pesticides is a big one. So
That's fair.
I'll
Okay.
just throw that out there.
Okay. I think that's pretty standard. We'll get into some of that about like why people buy organic food and stuff. But
Hmm.
so it's really it's kind of been a movement since like the 1960s, 1970s. Actually before that, but the real push for organic food really started happening in the 60s and 70s, but it's only really been big business since the 1990s.
Okay.
Um, it has its roots in much earlier movements, but that we'll get into that. But again, fear of pesticides, antibiotics, hormones, those tend to drive people's reasons to buy organic food, as well as the fear of ecological damage that conventional farming can cause.
Hmm.
Those are kind of front and center in the fight for organic food production, as well as people saying it's just better for you.
Right.
So, is organic food really better? Or is it just a bunch of clever or maybe damaging marketing?
Ooh.
Find out on Greening Up My Act.
Ooh. All right.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. So, I have thought organic food was a scam for a long time. I
Okay.
decided this several years ago. And, you know, it's like, I, like most Americans, we just kind of develop feelings about things based on kind of what media we consume without necessarily like we were talking earlier about how like we don't have time to be experts on all of the things that we're exposed to make decisions about.
Yeah.
So you just kind of get the information that floats by and you take it and you use it, you know. And
Yeah.
so I was really interested to dive into this because I've always been like, meh, organic food is a scam. And I think I heard that somewhere once and I just was like, fine, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
this was,
I've always kind of I've always wondered, and I've looked into it, but not like enough. So
yeah.
I'm really fascinated.
Well, you'll be excited to know I have like 15 sources today. So
Awesome.
I'm just going to say I'm started with the Mayo Clinic, the USDA on what the USDA organic label means. Ag Daily had the meaning of the organic label in the US versus the EU. I had some stuff from Washington State University, the Tree Fruit Research and Extension Center of Organic Agriculture.
Nice.
Yeah, the National Institutes of Health, Forbes, which the name of that article was Why I Don't Buy Organic
Hmm.
and Why You Might Want Not Want to Either. So,
Interesting.
yeah. Cal Poly Magazine, Eating Well, Consumer Reports, and I forgot the M in Consumer Reports. And then a guy named Chris Kresser had something on grass fed versus conventional meat, which isn't
Hmm.
necessarily organic, but I thought it was interesting. And then the National Library of Medicine had a systematic review of organic versus conventional food consumption.
Damn, you did some
Yeah.
research.
Yeah, I just kept going.
Yeah.
Because I was like, am I being biased? You know?
Mm-hmm. No, I know.
So, anyway, yeah, plenty of sources this week. But I
Wow.
wanted to start out with what is organic food.
Yeah.
So in the US, the USDA, the US Department of Agriculture, officially certifies organic food. And we'll get into a little bit of the history of that. But there are a few key principles on organic food production. Number one, they can't use synthetic fertilizers or chemical pesticides. Producers must rely on natural substances and physical, mechanical, or biological methods to manage soil quality, pests, and weeds. Love. Just put a pin in that natural methods,
Okay.
natural substances there.
Uh-huh.
Crops must be grown in soil that has not had any of those prohibited substances applied for 3 years prior to harvest.
Okay.
So you can't just be like, well, we're going to stop using synthetic fertilizers and now our food is organic. It has to be 3 years, which also doesn't necessarily mean those chemicals have gone away. Because I don't think 3 years is necessarily. But anyway, they didn't get into that. But for meat production, animals must be raised in living conditions accommodating to their natural behaviors. So, like, cows have to have access to pastures. They also have to be fed 100% organic feed, and they cannot be given antibiotics or hormones.
Okay.
Go
Well,
ahead.
it's fun. Are you going to counter any of this?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, this is just the labeling.
Yeah. Okay.
This is just what it takes to be USDA certified organic. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's just funny because I looked at eggs next week, and
okay.
I found some stuff that I was like, whoa, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
But
this is just like a very general list because there's a lot of things about these rules too.
Yeah.
It's also they're not allowed to use GMOs, which are genetically modified organisms,
that's
at all.
weird.
And then
Weird.
if you might see some things like processed foods, to be called a multi-ingredient processed food has to contain at least 95% organic ingredients, can't contain artificial preservatives, colors, which we went over last week, or flavors. Although some organic processed foods can have non-agricultural ingredients, like they can put enzymes in yogurt or pectin in fruit jams or baking soda in baked goods.
Okay.
Okay, so that's just to get the USDA label in the United States. Those are the basics. So let's go into the history of organic regulation, at least. Okay, because you might think it's been around a long time. Okay, the Wenatchee Tree Fruit Research and Extension Center from WSU says the term sustainable agriculture came about in the 1980s. Although nature farming was a term that they started in Japan, and biodynamic farming started in Europe in the early 1900s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Organic farming really became a concept in the 1930s after the Dust Bowl,
Oh, okay.
because it was clear healthy soil was important to create permanent agriculture. So the Dust Bowl was caused by not just a drought, but like human factors like over farming and, using the soil too much. In 1962, the publication of Silent Spring brought the idea of humans destroying the earth, basically, into the public eye, and that included farming issues. And then in the 1970s, as demand increased for more sustainable agricultural methods, people started asking for certification processes to prove that the more expensive food they were buying was actually organic. Because somebody could just be like, yeah, it's organic, but how do you prove that? So several producers, like conglomerates, started their own certification programs.
Oh.
And even state level regulations came about. So it was kind of a mishmash. Then in the U.S., the USDA, so there was the Organic Foods Production Act of 1990 was passed. And then it took a decade for the USDA to create the USDA Organic Seal, which was started in 2002 through the National Organic Program. So it took them 10 years to establish this program. Yeah. The rules on what gets to be called organic were strengthened further in 2023 with a new rule called Strengthening Organic Enforcement to Improve Oversight and Enforcement. So that's, 30 some years, 35 years of organic. Well, it's actually 23 years of organic labeling, which to me, it feels like it was so much longer, but it's only been since 2002.
Wow.
So before that, it was, grocery stores or whoever, sellers would have to have their own standards about what organic meant. So that's kind of fascinating to me. I thought it was just something that was always true,
Yeah, I thought it would be way earlier than that.
Yeah.
Huh.
But it's also, with the lack of trust in government institutions, I feel like there are other certification, like compostable, but people want other labels on their food to trust where their food is coming from, basically.
Yeah.
But anyway, in terms of
always trying to get around, use these labels, but then get around them as much as they can. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like we talk about clothes made from bamboo, but it's rayon. It's a plastic made from bamboo. So it's not, it's not natural, quote unquote. I mean, it's natural, but it's not the way that we think of natural is, you
Yeah.
know. So in terms of trade, the U.S. has a pact with other countries on importing and exporting organic food. One of our biggest trade partners in that case is the EU. So they have even more regulations in place around what can be called organic. So organic producers in the EU have to agree to responsible use of energy and natural resources,
Okay.
maintenance of biodiversity, preservation of regional ecological balances, enhancement of soil fertility, mostly achieved through rotated crops, and maintenance of water quality.
Whoa. And we don't have any of that?
No, not officially. I mean, there's other
Uh,
rules that the EPA has around things, but to be
that's so
certified,
interesting.
so this is the thing. It gets a little interesting. I'll go through that.
Yeah.
So processed food has to contain 95% organic agricultural products, and producers have to show what regulatory control body the farm of origin is under. So the
Okay.
USDA doesn't require you to label who certified it, right?
Okay.
Organic items from Europe can get the USD label if they're certified in Europe and vice versa, right? But in the EU, they have to show that this was certified in the US, you know.
Okay.
We don't have to list the farm of origin or whatever.
Okay. I see.
So them's the rules. And then, so I asked, why do people want organic food? And you answered that. Basically, U.S. consumers think organic food is more nutritious, natural, and produced in a more environmentally friendly manner. And these are things that matter to people, obviously. The NIH reports people who are health conscious tend to buy organic because of the health benefits. They say they buy them for the health benefits. And some even say they buy it because it tastes better. They want to reduce their exposure to pesticides, herbicides, and overall chemicals, right? That's a big movement for a lot of people. However, they also found that Americans have a lower level of understanding about organic foods than consumers in Europe. So we're not necessarily educated on what makes something organic. Like the organic label, the USDA says all the time, it has nothing to do with the nutrition value. It's just how it's produced, following these rules. So it's kind of misleading a lot for Americans.
Yes, but I will say, Joe had this diet that he had to, like a medical diet that he had to be on for a while, and he basically couldn't eat like very specific things, and so we had to like look really closely at food labels, and we did notice that the organic stuff usually has less in it,
Yeah.
just like fewer ingredients and more. I don't know if it's necessarily nutritionally better, but like the organic yogurt pouches, for example, like organic Go-Gurts. So it's like your
Yeah.
fancy ass Go-Gurt that costs you an arm and a leg.
Mm-hmm.
That has like, it lists like, oh, strawberry puree
Yeah.
versus like that ain't anywhere in the Go-Gurt.
Strawberry flavored. Yeah. And
Yeah,
red
and I
40.
don't know if you
Yeah.
like puree it down, if that kind of strawberry is even gonna do anything for you.
Yeah.
Probably not, because it's like turned into a liquid, but
Well, it could still have
I don't
vitamins
know.
and things.
I have no
But yeah.
idea.
What are the issues with organic food?
Okay.
Okay. And the first is that it's really expensive.
Yes.
It is much, much more expensive. So Consumer Reports put out a study in 2015. So this was 10 years ago. It showed on average, based on the 1,000 products they looked at, I think, organic foods were 47% more expensive than conventionally produced food.
Oh.
But that's just an average. So some things were like 300% more expensive. And sometimes organic food was cheaper. It just depends on where you get it and what it is. So like if you
And probably if
buy
it's in season.
organic honey on Amazon, it's going to be cheaper than
Right.
conventional honey at the grocery store, you know. But organic farming is okay, meat is generally significantly more expensive when it's
Yes.
organic. Organic farming is more labor intensive and produces lower yields than conventional methods, which means the supply is going to be lower than the demand, so it's going to be pricier. So that explains why it's more expensive, but it's also because they spend so much money on marketing, which I'll get into.
Okay.
Now, the next issue is that it's not necessarily more nutritious.
Okay.
So that Forbes piece that, you know, very strong
Oh yeah,
point
why
that
I
he was
don't
making.
buy
Yeah.
organic. Yeah.
The USDA clearly says the certified organic label does not address food safety or nutrition.
Huh.
Okay. Apparently, studies can't find a big difference between the nutrition in conventionally produced or organically produced food.
I believe that.
And sometimes organic products add more salt or sugar because they can't add those other artificial ingredients. Sometimes, not always.
Oh, no, that is interesting. Because
Those are,
actually, I looked because I didn't want to get Go-Gurt and I wanted to
yeah,
get the organic yogurt pouches. I was like, surely there's a lot less sugar in it. And I think there was actually maybe either equal,
or
almost
more.
equal, or more. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Yeah. So, yeah, organic doesn't mean healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar and salt are both natural, right? So if you can't up the flavor of your food with artificial preservatives or whatever, you throw more sugar or
Mm-hmm.
salt in it, that adds calories, at
Yeah.
basis. And now, there's a lot of studies out there that say sugar is kind of the worst thing in the world. Added sugar is kind of
Right.
the worst thing in the world we can do for ourselves. So there aren't studies that link organic food to better health. There just aren't. The Mayo Clinic has found, well, and also that study I read from I'm always like the National Library of Medicine. They both found that there's some observational studies, so not real clinical trials, but some observational studies that have found that people who eat more organic food tend to have fewer cases of non-Hodgkin lymphoma, which is what my grandfather died of.
Oh, wow.
You know what? Let me find this. I put it in a different section. Because I wanted to say this NIH article. Okay. I don't know why I put it down here. So they had people who had organic diets reduced their metabolic syndrome and high BMI. So like obesity, metabolic syndrome, high BMI, non-Hodgkin lymphoma, infertility, birth defects, allergies, preeclampsia. But these are just observational studies. And
So what does that mean? What is an observational study?
it's like it's not a clinical trial. They're just looking at people who eat organic diets
Okay.
and judging them against people who eat conventional diets, right?
Okay.
So they didn't like assign a control group to only eat
Right.
organic food for 10
Okay.
years. And that's the other thing is like that's self-reported. So
Yeah.
is it
Okay.
purely organic? Is it,
And you can also assume that anybody who's eating organic food is probably
well,
like thinking more
that's
about
the thing.
their
It may
diet.
just
Yeah.
be because people who choose organic food tend to be more health conscious in the first place.
Yeah.
They're already eating more vegetables, exercising, and not smoking,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And any diet that has more vegetables in it will give you better health outcomes, right? So, yeah, there's no indication. They do find, and this probably I'll get into more in the safety, that study they found that people who eat organic had less pesticide residue in their urine. But there's no association with that having better health outcomes. And I'll get into that in the next section here, which
Okay.
is, and I said in this, you can have bad health eating organic food. Like I have friends who eat
Yeah.
completely processed vegan diets, and they're overweight, like organic goldfish crackers are still goldfish crackers.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God. Can I just tell you about this?
Yeah.
Like absolute ripoff that we just fell for, and we knew we were doing it, and I just was like, let's fine.
Yeah.
So there were these Swedish fish-like things
Oh.
that Charlie wanted at the grocery
Yeah.
store, which is like, this is why we shouldn't take her to the grocery store. But they were like, I think it was Smart Sweets or some sort of one of these new brands, which some of them delicious. I don't know
Yeah.
about Smart Sweets, but these lollipops that she gets that have like 3 grams of sugar or something.
Yeah.
It's the best shit I've ever eaten, and
Yeah.
we stock them for ourselves even.
Yeah.
But this one, it was like fake Swedish fish in little packets, 10 packets for $10.
Holy crap.
And I was like, I looked at the
That's movie
sign,
theater
and I was like,
pricing.
oh my God, Joe. And I was like, this is what she wants. I don't have it in me to fight her. And then she
Yep.
doesn't even like them because they're not
Yeah.
good.
Yes. Yeah, because they don't have any artificial fun in them. Bummer.
Yeah, it was a true bummer. So I'm going to pawn them off on somebody.
Well, and so that's the other thing is that wealthy people tend to have better health outcomes too. So like you were saying, it was $10 for, like wealthy people who can afford organic food can also afford to go to the doctor and
Yes. Yeah.
take time to go exercising and pay for childcare and
Yep.
have less stress. So it's not a
Yeah, I
cause
mean
and
the
effect
stress
thing.
is huge, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a break now, and then I'm going to get into why organic food is not necessarily safer for you.
Ooh, sweet.
Okay, so the main thing people say is that they don't want pesticide residue. They don't want exposure to pesticides, which is the thing that I said from that study I was quoting from, that people who eat organic food do have less pesticide residue in their urine. Okay. Organic farming does still use pesticides. It's not pesticide free. They just have to use natural pesticide methods.
Yes, this is, I
So
have heard this, yeah.
organic food exposes people to less pesticide residue overall. Yeah. But the thing is, all food production methods in the US, conventional or organic, have to pass the same safety standards. So whether it's organic or conventional, it's safe. It's been deemed safe. The pesticides, so for instance, all the pesticides used in the US are subject to EPA regulations. And today's conventional farming techniques use pesticides that are non-toxic to humans. They've developed them to the point that these aren't things that are going to harm you. And that tracks with the information about they can't really say whether or not less exposure to pesticides means you have better health outcomes, because the pesticides aren't harmful to humans. So
That's interesting. I would come in as a devil's advocate, not that I actually believe it, but I know a lot of people would say, like, I don't trust the government.
and that's exactly what I was talking about earlier. That's the issue, right? Is that, you know,
Well, right now I definitely believe that, but
yeah.
and actually historically, like, think about microplastics.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is that, yeah, PFAS,
Yeah,
right?
right.
That's the thing. Things develop over time. It's just that just because it's organic doesn't mean it's safer, because they're all held to the same safety regulation, right?
Right.
That's the point.
Do you know anything about which pesticides they use?
I didn't get into that.
Okay, I'm curious because I mean I use like organic pesticides, but it's like
Yep.
neem oil. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, is that what they're using? Or...
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, just because something is natural doesn't mean it's safer either, right?
Yes, totally.
A lot of natural stuff, like dyes we were talking about, is actually less regulated than conventional
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
pesticides.
Yep.
So we don't even know if it's actually safe. I mean, again,
Yeah, they're
all
not
the
tested
food,
for like mercury.
yeah. Again, all the food that is produced in the U.S. has to meet the same safety regulations. So
Okay.
conventional food is as safe to eat as organic food in that sense, from what we know now,
Right.
right? One of the things that this Forbes article said is that the push for organic food has also pushed conventional farmers to find new ways to use non-pesticidal control measures too. So you may be surprised at how little pesticides are actually in your food. Yeah.
Why would they do that?
Well, for marketing. I mean,
Oh, okay.
it's cheaper, and you want your food to be, it's a marketing scandal when your food's not safe, right?
Yeah.
So if your food is killing people from pesticides, that's bad PR,
Right.
So there is some reason to find, more natural methods, quote unquote, that are still safe, that
Even
will
if
get the
they're
job
not
done.
like certified organic.
Right. Well, and it yes, that's the thing. It's being certified organic also, again, costs the farm more money, right? They
Yeah.
they have lower yields. It doesn't necessarily make sense from a farming perspective to go fully organic, but you can still use organic methods, that are proven less expensive and make your food better,
Yeah.
Another thing is organic foods can't be subject to like irradiation generally. And that's something that conventional farms use to kill bacteria. So
Oh.
again, organic producers aren't like allowed to sell bacteria-ridden foods.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that organic food is like unhealthy for you, but just because they're organic doesn't mean they're safe from bacteria like E. coli. They're as
those
likely to
carrots,
get
man.
yeah,
It was
as likely
organic
to
carrots like a
yep,
couple months ago.
yeah, as likely to get contamination as conventional food.
Okay.
You know, like here in Texas, we had a whole thing about people are like, I only drink raw milk because it's better for me. But then it's like when the bovine flu broke out, it's
Right.
like pasteurized milk won't give you they're like concerned that it's going to pass to humans through milk. So,
Yeah.
you know, that just because it's, say, you know, whatever. Eating organic, again, reduces the amount of pesticides you excrete in your urine, but you can't say for sure this means it's healthier or safer for you. There just haven't been any clinical trials that link conventional food production to cancer. And, you know, again,
Is that
if processed food is what causes health problems, whether it's organic or not,
mm-hmm.
you know, that added sugar and it's not the dyes like we were talking about last week. It's
That's so
it's the junk
interesting.
food, right?
Is it because there haven't been enough studies, or there have been a bunch and they just haven't found anything?
I think the issue is, according to this National Library of Medicine article I read, there just haven't been controlled studies.
Oh, that is shocking.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really difficult because you'd have to do it over a lifetime.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
And you'd have to control for so much, right? Like,
That's
is
true.
it, but we do know that vegetables high, you know, diets high in fiber, vegetables, fruit have better health outcomes. We know
of
that.
any kind? Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So it's like, unless people are dying of pesticide, you know, like, again, because these pesticides that we're using are safe
Yeah.
and they have changed. You know, nobody's like, what's Agent Orange or whatever it is? Nobody's using that, you know, it's, and I can understand why people would be like, well, the government also said that, you know, this was safe and it wasn't, you know, but it's kind of not the best reason to only shop organic.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. I will say, so my daughter now is in a prep school. Did I tell you about this?
No. Oh, wait. No, I don't think so.
Okay, because it's the same price as daycare,
Yeah.
which is laughable.
Yeah.
Laughable. And so she's in pre-K at a prep school.
Wow.
Which is like actually the last sentence I ever thought I would have uttered from my mouth.
You're that mom now.
No, I know. And I'm like real quick planning to skirt over to public school once she can actually get in. But next year, man.
Kindergarten.
But yeah, it's just funny. It feels, I will probably be talking about this all year because it feels very Pleasantville. It's really interesting. It's like, it's a whole other world. But anyway, they sent out a note with it. We're going to have to volunteer for Healthy Snack Day. And I think it's like week, actually. I'm not sure. But parents bring in healthy snacks, and they had a list of things that were healthy. And, of course, it was like all the sorts of fruits and vegetables. Organic.
Yeah.
Specify they should be organic. And I was like,
Yeah.
can we just chill out? Like, what if I brought a thing of strawberries and they were regular?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get into that. Maybe I'll just skip to that next, too.
Yeah.
Dangerous marketing is a reason.
Yeah.
The fear-mongering. All food production in the U.S. is subject to the same safety standards. I have to reiterate that. So conventional farmers aren't allowed to sell you pesticide-ridden poisonous apples. But this fear-based marketing creates a lot of guilt for consumers, especially parents.
Yes.
Because, oh my God, are you feeding your kid poisonous apples and giving them autism and ADHD? You know? And it's
Yes.
all just to make more money. This marketing, this fear-mongering. If Jeff Bezos can sell you a $50 steak over a $10 steak, he's going to do it any way he can.
Yes.
Which is why Whole Foods exists.
Yeah.
So fed is best. Scaring parents out of feeding their kids perfectly nutritious, safe, healthy vegetables and fruits because they're not organic is so bad.
You're right.
It's dangerous.
You're totally right.
And you know, if you choose to eat organic and everybody has a reason, and that's the thing, everybody say, well, I did my research and I found da-da-da-da-da. Fine. Again, science isn't always perfect, right? And it's constantly changing. So there may come a day in 10 years where like, yeah, I probably should have been eating organic carrots.
Right. Or if you just really prefer to be better, like better safe than
Right.
sorry kind of thing. Yeah.
Or conventional farming could introduce a new chemical, that causes a lot of problems too. So that may mean that in the future, organic farming is, conventional farming, this factory farming that we have has not been around for the entirety of human civilization, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's possible that something could change where, those carrots that are grown on a conventional farm are going to be really bad for you. But right now, that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, so I wanted to point out, organic farming may not always be better for the environment.
Oh, okay.
So this is something that Forbes article really went into. And the Mayo Clinic article pointed out that just because it's labeled organic doesn't mean it's grown close to you, right?
Yes.
That doesn't mean local.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there
you
are
just
still...
said we ship it in from the
Yes.
EU.
Yeah, they still ship it, right?
Yeah.
The Forbes article pointed out that compost, when used on like commercial farming levels, which organic farms are, has really high carbon footprint because of methane emissions.
Yeah.
So it means organic farming that uses compost may actually be worse than conventional farming using synthetic fertilizer. Chemicals aren't always bad for you, and they're not always worse for the environment. It just depends on what they are.
Which
And
makes
again,
me wonder about my own composting. My garden's small; it's fine.
yeah, see, that's again, you're not doing it on a commercial level, right? Yeah. Conventional farming has come a long way in the past 5 decades. So conventional growers, again, are using a lot more environmentally friendly methods than they used to. Plus, organic farming requires a lot more land to get the same level of production, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the issue we had with like essential oils. It's like you need 4 billion pounds of jasmine to,
Mm-hmm.
it's not organically, or just not environmentally friendly to do that. If we're going to feed all 8 billion of us and keep an eye on the environment, modern land-sparing farming systems, which tend to be conventional, are a better bet.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
just
really
something.
interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, I will say I fall prey to all of this marketing.
Oh, well, and you have to, because it's also like your school makes you.
Yeah.
And like the amount of judgment parents are privy to, especially moms.
Yeah, like one of my mom friends offered my daughter some strawberries, and I was like, "Oh, that's so nice of you." And she's like, "They're organic, don't worry." And I was like, "Oh,
I wasn't even thinking about it.
I wasn't
Yeah,
gonna judge you, I swear." Ah.
I mean, it's like it'd be one thing if they were like, "We found these cookies on the side, or like strawberries on the side of the road." Like if it came from a grocery store, it's been, like
Yeah.
You may actually be at more danger just picking berries from a neighbor's yard, than you would be buying conventional strawberries from your, because your neighbor's yard isn't subject to EPA regulations,
Right.
necessarily. Like your home garden could have, your home garden
raspberry bush
could have, but we've talked about this in gardening episodes, but like the danger that home gardens pose is that they overuse pesticides and they overuse fertilizers. So your home garden could be worse for you than conventional gardening, because if you're not using pesticides the right amount or the fertilizer the right way, So it's just something. Yeah. Now, the other thing is I wanted to get on a soapbox about GMOs.
Oh my God, please
this
do.
This is another one where people are like, GMOs are the villain, but we don't really know why. For the record, the marketing techniques against GMOs is some of the scariest shit. GMOs are not bad for you. Genetically modified organisms. This has actually decreased our ability to feed all 8 billion people in sustainable ways.
Yep.
So one of the examples we have is golden rice, which is a genetically enhanced rice created to combat vitamin A deficiency in developing nations, which is a major issue. Mm-hmm. It could have solved a huge problem in the world, but anti-GMO activists stymied it with conspiracy theories. The stuff was developed in the 1990s, okay? The Philippines just put it into production in 2022.
Holy crap.
Bangladesh, India, and Vietnam haven't started growing it yet because of regulatory hurdles, because of the fear of GMOs. There's no evidence. Again, a lack of evidence because there aren't studies. Could be, I get that. I can see where people would say, well, if we don't have evidence, that means we don't have evidence to the contrary either.
Well, you could say that with anything.
Yeah.
We don't have
But
evidence that Santa doesn't exist.
right. It just because it's genetically modified. It's not like, you know, every domesticated fruit and vegetable has been genetically modified.
Yeah.
It's just, corn, wheat, apples, tomatoes, they all started as something else until humans started tinkering with them.
Yeah.
GMOs are just faster workups of these long-standing agricultural processes. They just do
Yeah.
it faster.
Yeah, my opinion on GMOs totally shifted. It was maybe even 10 years ago, maybe even longer than that, when I read an article by Grist. Do you know
Yeah.
Grist?
I've heard of grist.
They're like very ultra left leaning environmental website that writes a bunch of stuff and
Yeah.
sometimes pisses me off. But
yeah.
they did a huge piece on GMOs, and they looked at it from every single angle, and they're like, our conclusion is
Yeah.
like they're fine basically. And so since then I've just like rolled my eyes at everything GMO. I'm just like, they're like GMO free because it's on packaging and stuff.
Yeah. It's just another marketing thing. I will say there are ethical considerations with GMOs, not because of the nutritious value or the safety of the food, but it's like Monsanto controls a lot of them.
Yes, that is true. Yeah.
And big corporations have long proven they don't have human interests at heart, right?
Right. And there's that whole thing where they can like seed other fields. Yeah.
Or they can't reuse, like when you grow tomatoes in your backyard, you can reuse the seeds next year.
Yes.
With some of these GMOs, you can't, which means that farmers have to go back to Monsanto and buy the stuff. That would make me not want to buy from Monsanto. But it's not because this freak rice is going to kill me.
Yeah.
That's a fine reason to not support GMOs, is because you don't support them. But there's no legitimate studies showing GMOs are bad for people to eat. And it's actually could solve a lot of our hunger problems in the world. And it's this anti-GMO fear is such a privileged marketing white person bullshit thing to fight against. Anyway.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Yep.
So the other question I had is, are there organic foods you should definitely buy, right?
I've seen those lists.
Okay, yeah, we're going to talk about it. Because I remember when I was growing up, my mom was like, I was talking to my massage therapist or someone, and she said, you should definitely buy organic coffee. And I was like, okay. And I was trying to look that up, and I can't find anything about that. Again, if you're worried about pesticide residue, I won't say don't be afraid of it, because I don't know. I trust that the food that is grown right now at the level of pesticides and fertilizers are used is safe for us to eat. But the Environmental Working Group, which we have talked about, we use them.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're a marketing stunt by the organic food industry.
You know what? I feel like I knew it. You know what I mean? What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we have to do an episode on them.
Yeah.
Because we've used them because it's like some of the only information out there, right? On
Yeah.
a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. And like shampoos and what.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, anyway.
Yeah, the whole thing seems shady. Oh my God. Okay.
I think, yeah, it's too bad. Okay. Well, so
we might even be able to squeeze it in.
Yeah. So they release a Dirty Dozen list every year saying these are the 12 foods you should definitely buy organic. And this year they said strawberries, kale-colored mustard greens, grapes, peaches, cherries, nectarines, pears, apples, blackberries, potatoes, spinach, and blueberries. They state they should do this because of concerns about pesticides. And they list like, oh, this year the blackberries had 25% more pesticides and conventional than organic, da-da-da-da-da. Again, 25% more of 0.0002 parts per million. That's the law of big or small numbers, right? That's not a lot, right? So 100% increase from a tiny number, even isn't that big, right? If you think about it. So they might be right. I'm not sure if it's just fear mongering to get you to buy from Whole Foods. So eating well says, if you're afraid of it, wash your veggies in a vinegar solution, because, pesticides are used outside the vegetable. I know that there would be concern that it would get into the water and get into the fruit, but they're used outside. So wash your veggies.
It also
But
helps with microplastics, apparently.
yeah, yeah, wash them. The EPA regularly checks pesticide levels in produce, and they will recall fruit or vegetables that have unsafe levels.
Oh, okay.
So it hasn't happened. Again, if you trust that the level of pesticide is, but again, it's okay. The EWG is not necessarily a bunch of scientific geniuses. Okay.
Man.
So there is something to be said. It might be worth it to eat organic meat and dairy. First of all, we should be eating less meat and dairy anyway, for a number of reasons. So considering it a luxury you splurge on and only buy organic might be a good way to keep you from eating more of it, right? There is a concern of the overuse of antibiotics in livestock, but this is not because of its likelihood of getting to you, but because of its likelihood of creating super bugs that are impervious to antibiotics. That's the issue.
Okay.
The hormone and antibiotic level in anything that reaches your grocery store shelves is highly regulated. So this article that I read about the difference between grass-fed and conventionally fed beef, he was talking about, they were saying, well, the hormones that they use to grow beef increases estrogen levels in children. And he's like, okay, it's the hormone level in a pound of conventionally raised beef has 0.002 micrograms of estrogen extra in it, right? A prepubescent boy produces 100 micrograms of estrogen a day. So he'd have to eat like 200 pounds of conventionally grown beef to get the estrogen levels they're saying, So that's again, right? Like, it's kind of like when we were talking about like artificial sweeteners cause cancer in rats. Yeah, if they eat a pound of it a day, which would be 300 pounds for you,
Yeah.
So
that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because I've heard that all my life. Like my aunt started buying organic milk for her daughter because she'd heard that. So that's so interesting.
But
turns out it's probably all just the fucking plastic.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, and or sedentary lifestyles.
Yeah, sedentary lifestyles. Or, I was thinking more for like hormone disruption and like girls are having periods.
Oh,
earlier.
It's PFAS. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's forever chemicals. Up. Yeah. Which is not regulated by organics,
so
right? Because it's in our water. So.
And Trump just nixed that.
Yep.
Biden, I guess, put it into place, the regulating the PFAS level in our waters, and Trump just threw it out.
Yeah. So there is some stuff I can't explain that I will say. Sometimes organic food lasts longer.
Yeah.
Like organic milk.
But that's the pasteurization.
Yeah, it lasts like a month. So
yeah.
And organic bananas last forever too, for some reason.
Oh, interesting.
So if it keeps you from throwing out food, you're going to save money in the long run, and that's better for the environment. So, buy the organic milk that'll last you a month.
Yes, that's why I buy it.
Yeah, me too. I used to as well. Okay, so the conclusion: should you buy organic? I'm not going to tell you organic food is all a scam. A lot of the best parts of the organic food movement have been incorporated into modern conventional farming, which is great. So we owe them that. Absolutely. There's not enough science to show that organic is always better or even better in the ways that it's advertised. So consumerism gets in the way of the truth, right? Organic food is tied to a lot of marketing, and it's a great way for companies to pick your pockets for more money.
Yes.
We do have a lot of reasons to mistrust corporations and the government. I will give you that. I'm not saying science hasn't been proven wrong before. Most of the stuff I looked up on whether organic was better for you has actually changed in the 10 years since the scientific findings first came out, too. Yeah. So their findings have changed. Science has changed its mind. It could go back the other way. It's impossible to keep informed on all of this. If you can trust the government, because, again, organic food is regulated by the USDA, too. Right. So you're trusting the government either way.
Yeah, that is true.
If you trust that the government handles, food safety enough to buy organic food, you should probably trust it enough to buy the conventional too.
That is true.
Things you can do: buy local whenever you can, right? Small producers tend to have more environmentally friendly farm practices, and you can reduce how far your food travels that absolutely cuts the carbon footprint down. So if you're buying organic because it's better for the environment, try local instead.
Yeah.
Focus on more local production. Go to the farmer's market. You'll
Yeah.
pay probably the same amount of money. You know?
Probably. Yeah, farmer's market, or we have a farm. Well, actually, we have a couple farms like down the road that there's one that has a new farm shop that opened up. So
That's cool.
yeah,
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, eat more veggies and fruits, period, wherever they come from.
yeah,
If you can afford organic, it's probably not going to do you any harm to buy it.
right,
Just don't get on a high horse
Except
about
for
how
your
much better it is.
right. Except on your wallet. I'm
Yes.
like, how much more have I spent if it's
Again,
47% higher?
You've got to recognize the privilege there, right?
My God.
Most of the reason organic food has a better reputation for health is probably because the people who eat it are already healthier, richer, and more focused on health in the first place, not because the food is better for you. So veggies and fruit are better for you than processed food in general, even if that processed food is organic.
Yeah. Yep.
So let's just stop judging people for what they eat. How about that?
Wow.
That's my takeaway.
Yes.
But yeah, it's not gonna hurt you to buy organic food, except in your wallet, generally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
I hope nobody. I again.
You've been very fair.
Okay, I hope so. I mean, I have problems with like quackery and snake
Yeah.
oil, and I feel like a lot of organic diets fall prey to that.
Totally.
People, and the thing is also subjective. I mean, there is such a thing as the placebo effect and the nocebo effect, and we can't explain it.
Mm-hmm.
The foods may not scientifically be provably better for you, but if you feel better eating organic or you feel worse eating conventional, that matters just as much.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell you that like, oh, you're wrong. Organic food doesn't have it. Like if you feel better eating organic, I'm not going to tell you that science says you don't. Like,
Yeah. And if you feel better eating it, you're more likely to finish it and
Yes.
less waste. So
and you're more likely to eat the vegetables and the fruits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is the point in the first place. So do what makes you feel good, you
Yeah.
know, as far as organic vegetables or conventional vegetables go.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to try to feel less guilty about,
Oh, that's
because
hard.
sometimes
Yeah.
I'll buy like I'm in Sprouts, and Sprouts
Yeah.
has both for
Yeah.
certain things, and I'll buy like the cheaper conventional broccoli, but I feel horrible about it. Not horrible, but it's like that pang of like, ugh.
You don't know what again, it's that you have a kid and
Yeah.
it's like, I'm like, I don't care. I've
Mm-hmm.
smoked cigarettes and I drink alcohol, so I'm going down with cancer no matter what. Like, I'll eat the conventional broccoli. It's not going to be what kills me. But like with kids, yeah, like the choices that you make for your kids, and like so many people are just judging all the time, and there's just this noise all the time about like
Yes.
it's abuse to feed your kid conventional foods, you know,
Oh
like
my God,
that's terrifying. And I'm so sorry. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry for all the moms I know.
Yeah,
Oof.
it's insane.
Impossible choices. So.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll try to like. This has actually been a huge relief. I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
good.
okay, I don't have to feel guilty
Yeah.
about
The
like
pesticide
not
level.
spending $800 on a head of broccoli.
Yes, the pesticide level is not overwhelming. It's regulated, and there's no studies that and the pesticides that they use are not going to kill your children. Is
Okay.
the bottom line. That's the thing. Does it matter if you have pesticides in your urine or not? We can't find any link.
Interesting.
It is interesting about the again, so those observational studies, non-Hodgkin lymphoma is what my grandfather died of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's because he ate Texas barbecue all the time? I don't know. But,
Yeah.
um,
And yeah, and like you said, there's probably never really okay, except in extreme cases, like where you can point specifically to asbestos, like you worked in an
Yes.
asbestos
Yes.
factory. Like in the modern day, there's not going to be, there will be. We're going to discover new things like that.
Yeah.
But as of now, it's going to be more like all over the place, and
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to point to.
yeah, a single.
Yeah.
Well, and I was thinking about that too. Like, we were just talking about PFAS. Like, organic farming uses the same water that conventional farming uses. And if there's PFAS in the water, it's going to be in the food, like whether it's organic or not. So,
Damn.
yeah.
We're talking about PFAS this season, right?
I don't
Or did we
remember.
already?
We already talked about PFAS. You did a whole thing.
Did I?
We've gotten to the point in 8 seasons where we don't remember. We're like, there was
Have we
something
researched?
6 seasons ago. Yeah.
Okay. I believe you, but I forget doing it.
Yeah.
Computer.
So there's organic food for you.
Interesting. That's
Yeah.
really fascinating.
Yeah.
That actually, it's a weight off my shoulders.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell all my friends to listen to it who have kids.
Okay. Well, and I hope I didn't miss, because there's so many studies out there, but again, they're all observational. That like, I think I saw something come by, and I couldn't find it again when I went back to look. That like they have organic foods have lower levels of like cadmium and heavy metals, but it's like the difference in the levels was so minuscule as to be meaningless.
Okay.
That it's like
Yeah,
there's
it's like
yeah.
like something you could take and, like you were saying, with marketing and spin it 25%
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, 25% more of 0.0000001 micrograms. You know,
Right.
is
Yeah.
0.0000125 micrograms. And
Right,
it's like-
right.
So I don't know. But there's probably organic proponents out there who might have things to say, and I welcome it. From what I can tell, there just aren't scientific studies with a smoking gun that says organic food is better for you. It's just marketing. So green hooey.
Wow. I was thinking about it. We haven't really called green hooey on a lot of stuff.
No.
Like straight up, this is green hooey. So that's
Well,
really
okay, I
interesting.
won't say organic is definitely good. I'd probably give it a 2 on our granola scale crunchiness.
Right.
Like the intentions are there, the marketing is ridiculous.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
give it a full soggy granola.
But almost. Yeah.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah, that's
Just
so
for the guilt that
interesting.
it causes people, that I
Yes.
think is dangerous.
Yeah, it is. You're right,
So-
because if you're more likely to buy organic fruit strips than you are to buy regular old apples.
Yeah. Yes, if you're so afraid of conventionally grown foods that you're going to buy processed candy with no artificial dyes, that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Totally.
So,
Wow. Interesting.
yeah.
All right, next week I'm talking about chickens.
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 I'm really interested in this one because a lot of people are like, yeah, growing chickens, have chickens in your backyard. Because Sean eats so many eggs, and he knows exactly how much they cost at every grocery store in town.
Nice.
And he will calculate percent how much each egg. He's like, you got to buy 24 of those from Walmart because if you buy them from HEB, it's 30%, and I'm just like picking up the brown eggs that are pasture raised because I'm like, I want the chickens to be free.
Oh my God, you're going to love this episode.
Okay.
Because
Oh,
I
can't
talk
wait.
about the eggs in the grocery store, and it's really eye-opening,
Okay.
actually.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, sweet. So I just thought about this the other day. If you haven't reviewed us or rated us,
Oh, yes,
on
please give us a
any
story.
of the like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, just throw
YouTube?
YouTube. Throw in a 5 stars, and if you have a second, write a little sentence like
That'd be
"These people
awesome.
are cool" or something.
Yeah,
And
we would really
because-
appreciate it.
Yeah, that helps us a lot. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. See you next week.
Thank you.